Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to Apocaflix Movies and the Marvel Rewind. Thank you guys so much for joining us as we are here to review the 5th episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. An episode that's going to create some really, really good conversations. There's a lot of things that happen this episode. The longest episode of any Disney Plus show that we have to this point, coming in at a total of 61 minutes, minus the credits, comes in and probably around the 56 mark, which is pretty hefty. That is pretty hefty. But before we get to talk here, let's go around the crew real quick. Jacob, how you doing, man?
I am pretty good, man. I again stayed up till midnight to watch this, so didn't get as much sleep as I would like. But it is, this episode was definitely something to discuss. Very different episode, so I'm excited to talk about it. Agreed.
Mr. Avellino, how you doing, man?
Good. Is this true? Is she a fan of this show?
I mean,
she's my girlfriend from his account, her account.
Yeah. No, I'm not our show. I'm talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
No, she's my girlfriend, so of course she's going to watch anything Captain America related.
Very cool. That, yeah. I dig it. Good. I'm so glad it's Friday. That's all I've got.
Seriously, same.
This week is,
could absolutely agree with you. Mr. Ramos, what's up, dude?
What's up, guys? I think we've officially seen everything from all the promotional marketing now. Now I'm no longer wondering, okay, where's that scene?
I was just going to say, as you
movie.
watch the intro, you think to yourself, okay, I've seen that.
Yep.
That. There's not really a shot. There is one. I don't want to say it, but
say it.
Bucky on the motorcycle. We have yet to see Bucky on the motorcycle. And so that is more than likely coming in next episode.
Don't they release like a new TV spot every week too?
Yeah, but I don't watch them.
I don't watch those.
Yeah, I avoid them too.
I don't watch. Gio watches them like, they're like, he's like an addict to those things for some
Gio
reason.
wants all the spoilers, all of
I have no idea why, but all right. Before we get going, real quick, guys, we do have a special guest coming in about 15 minutes, or depending on when he gets home. If you're part of the Schmodown, you recognize this name, the Jackal. Jesse Swift will be popping in, talking some Falcon and Winter Soldier with us. Super excited. He's a big comic guy. We're a bunch of nerds. It's going to go really, really well. But let's get into this, guys, because this is an episode that's going to require quite the conversation here. And let's just go chronologically. And it's perfect because the episode last week obviously ended on a big moment with John Walker killing someone, blood on the shield, and then the screen just goes black, right? We don't know what's happening. The episode picks up with him essentially running down a rail yard into a warehouse, and then we get that fight we've been waiting for of Sam and Bucky up against John. Obviously, John at this point has the super soldier serum. He's a little bit on edge. He has a little bit of adrenaline pumping through his veins, and we see
he's got more than adrenaline pumping.
Well, yes, of course. But before the fight actually breaks out, we see John kind of running through things in his head. Some flashbacks, obviously thinking about Lamar, his girlfriend, whoever it may be. Never really confirmation on it, but ultimately ends in the fight. Sam eventually gets the shield towards the end of the fight, but total gnarly just chaos breaks out at a couple points. Let's just talk about it real quick. Gio, I'll start with you on this one, man. What do you think of the fight? What do you think of the moment? How it kind of all went down? An opening to an episode, maybe the best opening we've seen so far.
Yeah, man, very on the edge of your seat start to this episode. And I'd like to rewind just a little bit. There's a shot where John Walker is on his knees, leaning on the shield, like having an
it's in our
Skywalker
intro. It's in our intro. You guys can see it, actually.
Yeah. He's like, what have I done? He's just like, he's in disbelief. But, and that's just, how much pressure he's put on himself because he's taken on this Captain America mantle. So I appreciated that emotional moment. It was very short, but it's a shot of him on his knees with the shield. And then the two of them come in there, and it felt like Civil War all over again with the 2v1. Only it was a bit different, obviously, because, he doesn't have an Iron Man suit, but he does have the serum in him. And for me, the money shot is, as far as that fight sequence goes, him destroying Falcon's wings, excuse me, and just like paper, just.
Well, he was set to kill him.
Yeah,
he was set to kill him.
I mean, he went psycho. Like he was just, how many times did he grab the shield and was ready to go, bam?
Yeah.
And
it's like his signature move, like chopping someone's head off. That's like his move.
Yeah, I mean, he's missed. Well, no, he hasn't really missed because he hit the other guy. But man, I hate to be on that receiving end. I thought it was awesome, dude. Awesome fight. Like I said, the money shot, the wings getting destroyed, but yeah. He's a crazy guy for sure.
Brian.
Great fight scene. I freaking love the fight scene. There were a couple times I was like, oh, someone's going to get actually really messed up.
I mean, John Walker's arm went backwards, everybody.
It's so funny that you said that.
It's backwards.
When I saw that, I immediately went, Jake is going, oh,
it's exactly what was going on in my head. Exactly what was going on in my head.
I could literally I just know your tendencies when it comes to stuff like that. And immediately I'm like, oh, Jake's sitting there going and then just snaps back. And you're just
because the thing that I guess that's the wrong term for it. But what bothers me about moments like that is this one specifically, the camera just sits on it.
Yep.
Rather than it just going, it's like a slow break. I'm like no.
Yeah, you're just waiting for it to hit that point.
Pure torture.
Yeah, you're just waiting for it to hit that point where it just cracks and then just cracks. But yeah, this fight scene was awesome, and it was choreographed so well. It was just so good, and I love how Falcon just he doesn't need to fly, but he can just boost enough to do a certain move, and it's
like nitrous.
Yeah, it just makes his fighting so much cooler. Just maybe he needs to dodge, he'll just boost to the side, or he's gonna do a lunge punch and it's gonna get extra force behind it and just gonna punch you in the face with a boost. But yeah, this was a great fight scene, and John Walker was. He's such a good anti-hero.
Wyatt Russell is killing it.
Yeah, that's he's so good.
Anti-hero. I said villain last week. He's definitely an anti-hero from this point on.
Yeah, so it's funny though because I've been looking up merch for the show, and they have a poster that I want to get you, Jake, where it looks how they keep showing the on the wall
Cap is back.
John Walker is Captain America, and it looks like it's someone ripped it and stuff. They have that, and I'm like, oh, I want to get this for Jay.
I'd toss it.
I know you would. But yeah, that fight scene, fantastic.
Damien, we will get to this. Just stay tuned. We will definitely get to that. But Jacob, look, the scene is everything that we've been wanting for a couple weeks now. We knew it was coming following last week's episode. Did it live up to the hype for you?
So if we're talking about that action scene, that was badass. Yeah, that lived up to the hype. But I love the opening of the show when you just show John Walker running through the alley or the street or whatever, and he's thinking about Lamar. It's yes, we don't like this character in the world, but it's such a great character from a storytelling perspective. He and there's more stuff that happens later on in the episode that applies to this, but he's so complicated. And look, obviously he tried to kill Sam in this fight scene, so he's not redeemed at all. And I don't think he is necessarily redeemable, but there's so much going on with him because he hasn't lost it completely. But it's kind of like once he gets mad, he can't stop himself, or once he gets in a fight, he can't stop himself. But then once he calms down a little bit, he's able to try to think logically because we still see the humanity in him. So I'm loving this. And that fight scene was crazy. And I'm curious, man. I was like, there's no way John Walker has a chance in this fight because at the very least, him and Bucky are equal at the very least. And then you have Sam there too. So it's John Walker is a formidable fighter because he's taken both of them on. And it took them a while to take him out. So that was great all around.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely like the opening, right, where he's just kind of in that struggle mode. thinking about everything kind of that this all went down, not just losing Lamar, but also the moment of him killing someone. And but then you get into the fight scene, and it's kind of what we had been waiting for, right? They're fighting for the shield, and everything was about the shield, which is what the entire show has been about. And I thought it was really, really well done. I thought Walker obviously looked like a very formidable fighter. You can tell, or there's another reason as to why he was given the shield. He's just good at what he does. He's really, really good at what he does. And so, someone moving their tripod around.
Yeah, man.
But no, I love the fight scene. I loved Sam and Bucky kind of getting beat up a little bit and having to find different ways to beat him, because he's clearly a very well-trained fighter. Even though they're Avengers, he is just really good at being that type of fighter. Jury's still out if he can really use the shield or not. Not too fancy with the shield like Steve was, but he
was hucking that thing though.
No, that's true. He knows how to throw the shield.
There were a couple times I was like, if that thing makes contact, that's taking off head.
Absolutely. Well, he knocked Bucky out. And that moment where he knocked Bucky out and Bucky's arm like shut down was really cool. Really cool moment.
He knocked out Zemo too, the previous episode.
That's true. Good call. Yeah, and I actually rewatched that episode last night. He didn't just hit Zemo. He literally threw the shield and hit Zemo. Like full on, just like blow to the head.
Like he needed an ice pack.
If he had a serum, he would have died.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, very, very, very impressive opening to the show, or to the episode, excuse me. I really enjoyed it. Gio mentioned the wings. It's a big part of what kind of was going on in the episode and what's going to happen next week as well. But speaking of the wings, the next scene that we do get to is a moment between Sam and Torres back in the building where they were chasing down Carly. They're kind of having a conversation a little bit, and Sam's got the shield and the wings are in a bag. They're talking a little bit about just some stuff between the two of them. And there's that nice little nod of like Sam's just basically says, I'll keep them. And we obviously know Easter egg wise, if you know the comic books, Torres in the comics actually became Falcon at one point. He became a version of Falcon.
I like this, the guy that's playing.
So do I. I agree with you. And it would be very interesting to see if he's a returning character or if it's just a nod. The fact that Sam is obviously going to pick up the shield. Do they need another Falcon? Not sure yet. Jury is still out, but very cool, quiet moment between the two of them. Not a whole lot there, but the next scene is the kind of the big one that we want to talk about.
Let me ask you this. What do you think that they're similar in age? Because I feel like he's kind of younger.
He's definitely younger.
So,
I would say.
I mean, maybe a young Avenger, like throw him in with that mix. I mean, there's clearly enough to make a young Avenger.
That's a good point. And I almost feel like though that, and it's weird to say, but Falcon almost fits a military operative a little bit more than a young Avenger. Yeah. And because obviously Sam was working with the Air Force, right? Like he was working with them. Maybe that's something that Torres does, is he becomes like the new addition to the Air Force, that he's able to do missions for them.
Yeah. I mean, like a roadie type.
Exactly. Very possible.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the next scene, guys, because this is where we get to see John back in the U.S. Okay. And we see him in the car. There's a nice voiceover going over from the congressman. I'm just going to call him a congressman because I don't exactly know what title he has. But they're stripping him of everything. He's no longer Captain America. They are basically making him,
he's a civilian.
Yeah, he's leaving the army. He doesn't get benefits. He doesn't have any kind of recognition anymore whatsoever, which is something we talked about, but we didn't know if it was actually going to happen or not. And John doesn't take it too well, right? He kind of gets a little bit aggressive inside the courtroom. And this moment was very powerful. It was very, very powerful, very strong. Jacob, what did you think about this scene?
Wait, what scene?
The courtroom scene.
Oh, the courtroom scene. This scene was big because I heard people debating like whether they didn't think that they either thought the government was going to back John Walker and say, oh, he was just doing his job. He tracked down and killed one of the terrorists that killed his friend, and it was in the midst of battle. And then some people were saying, no, they're going to strip it from him right away. So this was our confirmation of what they're going to do about that. And I thought it was done. It was handled very well, and he looked very, very upset.
Agreed. All right, real quick before we move on, before we continue the conversation about the courtroom scene, let's bring in our guest. He is here. The Jackal himself, Mr. Jesse Swift, is with us. What's up, man?
Hey, Jesse.
Round
Thanks for
2
joining
goes
us,
to
man.
Kong. I'm in the right review, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, man. Always good to see you. Glad to finally talk some Falcon and Winter Soldier with you. Nice. So we're in the middle of talking about the courtroom scene with John Walker. I'll let you go next, man, since you're here. What did you think about this moment?
It's a dramatic highlight for John Walker's character, I think. He's had a lot of great moments, and I think that us nerds sometimes can have a problem with separating actors from characters. And I think there's a lot of people that are being way too hard on Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell is doing an absolutely phenomenal job. Because we should, U.S. Agent is kind of the John Walker character is kind of an easy character to hate. And there's a lot of angles they could have gone that would have made him very shallow. But this is the same studio that gave us Thanos. We know that they are in for depth. This is a character that has been traumatized by war. He's been affected by violence, sacrifices. He does not have the same background Steve Rogers has. And in turn, he's a different man. But this courtroom scene, it was a lot because it was like, obviously, the government, they're already going to have turmoil. Like they said, it's an international incident. There's going to be issues. They can't stand by as Captain America murders somebody in a foreign country. But also, him going after them, being like, listen, I've lived my life by your mandates. I've followed your mandates. On some degree, you have to kind of like nod along a little bit and be like, I understand, because both what John Walker has in common with Isaiah Bradley, they're both varying degrees, definitely varying degrees, but they're both victims of a government agenda. And so I think that all came to a head in this scene.
It's a really, really good moment. Good points there. Gio, I know this is something you probably wanted to talk about. Thoughts on this one, man?
It's messed up. Like, I understand why they did it. Okay, they have to do something, political tensions, overseas and whatnot. But I mean, to strip him of everything and even benefits, it's just like you're not making the situation any better. Okay, like this man just lost his comrade. Okay, he made a mistake and he had to confront two other people who seemingly just do whatever they want and, have no repercussions whatsoever. And it really bothered me. I'm just like, man, because I don't know. I just have so much respect for people in the military. And I'm just like, man, like, I know how much these benefits mean to people and whatnot. It's a lot. So it really got me heated.
Can I have one sentence in there? I just want to say that there's a lot of people are making comparisons to what John Walker did to like the abusing of powers with cops and things. It's different. Being in the military, being in war, it's two different things. So I think they should avoid making that comparison.
Brian, what about you, man?
Yeah, it's funny because this scene, I kind of, in a way, was feeling like I was siding with John Walker on this one because, like, he killed someone in, I'm not going to say cold blood, but close to it.
Warm blood? Yeah,
slightly lukewarm. In front of tons of people. It's a citizen outside of U.S. jurisdiction. So what he did, not okay. However, and this is kind of said through it, is the fact that he's getting berated and getting these demotions and things from people who probably weren't ever even in the military.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just at power.
Yeah, exactly. So as military service, I cannot say I've done it, but like it's very much a yes man, yes ma'am type situation where you're told what to do and you're going to do it. But if someone makes a wrong decision, we're not in charge, or you're the one at fault. And that kind of seems like this situation a bit. So, I kind of, in a way, felt for him in this scene. But again, he did murder someone in front of tons of people. I think the thing that I find most curious is the fact that he's so, like, he's almost talked himself into the fact that that person was the one that killed Battlestar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, it's weird to me that, I get he's like using it as a justification, but it's like he knows that that's not the right person. So like, at the same time, I kind of like go back and forth, but I think it just, in a way, it was kind of heartbreaking seeing, like, not only is he's gonna suffer from this, his girlfriend, wife, when they took away the benefits, you saw her face like, oh, like crap. Like, so it just was a really kind of jarring scene in a way.
Well, and it's a scene that, and we don't see it obviously in like the public domain, but it could be something that happens quite often. It could be something that happens to that has happened to multiple people throughout our history of essentially being stripped of who they were after putting in all this work and doing what they've been told their entire lives. And because of one mistake, and granted, in this situation, it's a big mistake, but in other situations, it can be something completely different. And it wasn't just, stripping him of being Captain America. And I know, Jesse, you put it in the private chat, but it wasn't just stripping him of being Cap or something. It was taking everything away. Yeah. Everything.
I was so shocked when they said you lose all your benefits.
Yeah, he no longer has the ability to support himself, support his wife or girlfriend or anything after decades of work for the U.S. government, which is
even go to the comics.
They did this because he was Captain America. If he had been a soldier and he was overseas and accidentally got the wrong person, maybe he would have been discharged. Yeah, but like that's kind of like the extent of it. The extreme reaction is because he was the representative of the country and, is America's superhero.
That makes sense because people are going to want to see him punished, so they have to do it as much as possible.
Yeah, it's the equivalent to a public stoning.
Yeah, it's very much really so. Down. Yeah, it's very much so that you made me into this person. This is what you wanted me to be, but you gave me no instructions of what I can and can't be. So when I do this and make a mistake, granted, again, killing someone is not a mistake. Like, he made a choice, but like at the same time, it's just like they made him into Captain America and just said, like, be perfect. And the second he messed up, everything he's ever worked for in his whole entire life is gone.
Think about the timeline. He was really like publicly Captain America for what, a week?
That's what it's. Yeah, it had to be just like a handful of days.
Not more than a month. That's
like you can tell they're not even. They didn't have the paint had just dried on all the signs that said Cap is back.
Yes,
and then it's like, and we're done.
All right. Well, that's obviously going to have implications going forward because we saw the post-credit scene playing into next week and hopefully the future of the MCU as well. But let's unpack the next scene we saw.
I fully expect you to say the whole entire name.
God, no. I'm blank. Honestly, I'm blanking on her actual real name. I only know her by one other name. But so we see John Walker leave the courtroom.
Is Elaine the one name that you know her by?
I'm trying to think of it.
Contessa.
I have one specific name stuck in my head. That's why.
Contessa Valentina.
Can I break the scene first? Jesus. He leaves the courtroom while everyone's still talking. He sits down. He's talking to his wife, and she's doing the similar thing as she was in the second episode, kind of talking him down a little bit in the locker room of their high school, kind of being this like nice crutch for him, if you will. And as they're talking, we see this figure walking up, and we've heard about a cameo. We've heard about a cameo or setup of a character Someone who the director says, I would love to see this actor play off of other people in the MCU. And we had no idea who it was. But lo and behold, it is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and she is playing none other than Madame Hydra, which is insane. And then, Brian, you can say her full name if you'd like to.
Oh, Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
There you go. Thank you. I was no way I was going to say.
Okay, how many Madame Hydras are there in the comics? Because
I think at least 2.
She is a recent
right?
Madame Hydra.
Okay, because
her original name was Viper, if I'm not mistaken.
Wasn't Viper?
No,
Madame
Viper's
Hydra?
a separate character.
Are you sure?
Well,
Viper has been Madame Hydra in the comics.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we saw Viper in the Wolverine, which she's actually
That's what it was.
a different
Okay.
character. Yeah.
But we also saw a version of Madame Hydra in
Agents
Shield.
of Shield.
Did
Which,
she say her
once
name in the
again
episode?
confirms that Agents of Shield is not canon, so everyone can just take a nap.
I think the Darkhold confirmed that. But.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Darkhold is in both, so Agents of Shield are canon." I'm like, "Look at them. Look at Darkhold.
They look different.
Thank you, Rachel. This is all I'm gonna call her Val. I'm just gonna
Val. But she said, "Don't call her into that out loud."
Can we just call her Val Hydra?
Oh, nice.
I think that sounds nice.
Look, guys, this is super, super cool. Look, we all had theories about who it could possibly be. I know, like the idea of someone like Dr. Doom was showing up as Victor Von Doom because the country was so close. But this obviously ties back to a lot of things. The character Val, she has ties to S.H.I.E.L.D. She has ties to Nick Fury. She has ties to a lot of characters we've kind of seen before.
Secret Invasion.
Invasion. I know a lot of people are calling for this Serpent Society.
Do you guys remember when they
Avengers,
announced
maybe?
Captain America 2 as the Serpent
Yeah.
Society?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
For Civil War, they announced it.
Kevin Feige.
But look, this is not just the fact that it's Madame Hydra showing up, but the fact that it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the character, the legend herself, showing up, and the scene they gave her was phenomenal. Just that one scene, you get this kind of powerful aspect from this character, and just seeing her involved in this type of stuff is really cool. Fun fact: originally, this character was supposed to debut in Black Widow, but they changed it because of the pandemic. Because the way that everything was released, they put her in this show first, so that we still see if she shows up in Black Widow or not. Probably, but we'll see. But obviously, they have plans for her, and what a cool moment, and possibly a connection between Walker and her as well, possibly down the road.
Can I pose a brief question?
Sure.
So there were, I say rumors, but it was pretty heavily rumored that Florence Pugh is going to be appearing in this series. Do we think, and then also the character of Madame Hydra apparently appearing in Black Widow, do we think they've done some shuffling with those appearances, or maybe the Falcon Winter Soldier, the context of that scene was maybe shifted into a post-credit scene for Black Widow, or moved around that way since the release dates have changed?
Oh,
It's
Possibly.
possible.
Like, we know that.
Second.
Well, we know Florence Pugh's in Hawkeye now, so maybe she was in this one and they pushed her to Hawkeye.
What
I mean-
I heard it was something to do with Zemo, but I'm not entirely sure what the full context is.
interesting. I wonder
Because
if,
there was the
if this,
reshoots and everything.
I wonder if this series, because of the pandemic, was originally supposed to be a little bit longer with more story points.
Well,
And
first
I
it
heard
was
10 episodes. Yeah.
It was supposed.
I
There was
heard
like a storyline about a virus, and they had to
Gotcha.
remove that from. They took that all out, and then they had to change it to the
Interesting.
super like
They
something else.
started
But
filming pre-pandemic, and they were about like halfway through shooting. And then
I'm
it's-
guessing their plan was to have Madame Hydra and Black Widow, and then have her and Florence Pugh appear in this. And now they probably changed that, because where would Florence Pugh fit in, like in the last episode? You know, unless it's a after credit scene or something.
maybe she appears in the raft. Maybe she's going to be part of the
Which-
Thunderbolts.
Brian, you're getting your wish, man. That we'll talk about that at the end, because it comes towards the end.
Well,
of the
that
episode.
explains where she is.
You're 1,000% getting your wish.
So excited. When I heard that, I went,
Yeah, it's the first thing that popped in my head. I go, that's your Thunderbolt tease. There you go.
Why
Boom,
else?
it's happening.
Not to jump
I've
ahead,
heard
but why
Dark
wouldn't you
Avengers-
take him to Wakanda? Why would it be the raft specifically?
Exactly.
Who's in charge of the raft? Yeah.
Exactly.
All
Who
right,
else
Gio,
also appears in Black Widow?
Yeah.
Gio, I
As
gotta
a
ask you,
younger
man. I know you probably don't know a whole lot about Madam Hydra and the character and kind of what she means and everything, but the fact that Julia Louis-Dreyfus is popping up in the MCU is pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, is she going to be the one that recruits what Brian said, Thunderbolts, or
What it sounds like.
yeah, some similar to that. I mean, she had a very Nick Fury presence, just how she carried herself. So wait a minute, answer this: is she going to be in Black Widow? Do we know still, or
It's up in the air. Pre-pandemic, she was supposed to be. Right now, we don't know just because everything that's been shuffled around. I know you mentioned Nick Fury, but interestingly enough, in the comics, she actually dated Nick Fury.
They're like on and off again.
Was that actually Hydra, or was that the Skrull Hydra? Madam Hydra. Might have been this.
I think it might have been this. No,
I think it was the real
both of
version. I think it was the real version because I think the reason she turned to Hydra is because Nick Fury had another girlfriend that she got jealous about.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Damn,
We got to
guys.
see this on screen.
And Sam Jackson is playing the field, but no. So look, if Nick Fury's still out there, obviously he's in space at the moment, but she could be doing all this and creating her own little version of a super team because of what he did with the Avengers. And John Walker's a piece of that. Zemo could be a piece of that. Gio, that's got to be pretty exciting, right?
hell yeah, I'd be down to see that. The question is though, like, will they actually commit to that? Like, will we see a Disney Plus series around them, or is it just going to be, appearances here and there throughout other people's series episodes?
I mean, Thunderbolts has the
or will it be a movie?
To be Marvel's Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but I feel like personally that'd be a movie just for me, but I don't know how everybody else feels.
I'd rather see a movie because I feel like there'd be a lot of special effects involved in that. So I'd rather see a movie.
Did you guys see that we have by 2023, I think it's 12 movies and 13 shows.
Yes. Give it to me.
Isn't there supposed to be 10 this year?
13 versions of Marvel Rewind, everybody. Goodness.
Hey, as long as they're not going on at the same time.
Jake's making these
reminder to
videos like
Streamlabs
they're
for all
playing
this
cards
content coming up.
Yeah. You're going to have to collect Jake's intros by the end of 2023. It's like a playing card. But when I saw this, I got very excited because I've seen people throw out Thunderbolts. I've seen people throw out Dark Avengers. I'm fine with either. Like, it'd be kind of cool either way. Either way, it sounds like we're getting an anti-hero team.
I would be disappointed if because when they brought Zemo back, I wanted Masters of Evil.
Oh, I'm sure you'll get that at some point. That's too big. That's too big of a thing.
What's
to not?
We can be setting up, and we'll get to this later in the episode, I'm sure, but we could be setting up Young Avengers, and it'll be so unique if the Young Avengers are not going against a singular threat like the Avengers always have, but instead teams of villains that are all reminiscent or like aftermath of pre-existing characters. So it's almost like they have to go against the shadow of their predecessors, and I think that's a really cool concept.
I mean, the Young Avengers could be the ones that are going after. I mean, she could be setting up Masters of Evil. For all we know,
it could really be either version.
Yeah, it could be any of those three. Either way, we're getting a collective group of bad guys, and I'm for it.
Yeah,
that is like my freaking.
And the cool thing is that for the most part, it seems like it's gonna be bad guys that we've seen before.
Well, and it's not even so far. Like, if you think about it. They're not really the ones that come immediately they're bad, but they're not like
evil.
The villain.
Yeah, well, isn't Abomination there?
So we don't know. I was just going to bring up Geo because Geo is a big, big supporter of the Incredible Hulk. Thunderbolt Ross is in charge of the raft, right? Or he was last time we saw him. Abomination could very well be there. He could very well be there, and we could be getting him again in the future.
Emil Blonsky was confirmed for She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
See, there you
that's
go.
very interesting.
Boom, happening.
He's been the one character
That's
that
expensive.
I've wanted to see back on screen. You know, say what you will about the Incredible Hulk as a movie, but when Abomination and Hulk fight and they tear up Harlem, awesome. Absolutely. And I mean, Tim Roth, come on now. I wanted to see more, and it looks like they're finally tying in the Incredible Hulk, you know, with Thunderbolt Ross. And I think Betty Ross is going to be in She-Hulk, unless I'm mistaken.
I would love to see that.
I'm so excited. Either way.
Yeah, Blonsky.
Yeah. Either way, I am excited about this specific character. Sure. Yeah. I'm more excited about the potential of what she can do than I am so much like, yes, Contessa, this whole thing is in it.
Wow.
Like that I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Am I excited of what she's going to probably do? And I mean, I think I saw someone say she's an 11-time Emmy Award winner. Like,
oh yeah,
she knows what she's doing. So it's going to be
Veep,
good.
right?
It's Veep and
Seinfeld for sure.
Well, I think Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? She was in that.
Whatever, but she knows what she's doing regardless.
Oh yeah.
So I know Jake and I were texting at like 1 a.m. going like, she's gonna be around for a while. Like the fact that her character is doing this, and to be completely honest, her main storyline in Marvel is Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
What is coming? Secret Invasion. So
with
like
who else? Nick Fury.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So like
An ex-fling showing up. Nick Fury's not going to be too happy.
Fury and
So, like,
Talos.
the chances are she's gonna be around for a while. Is she gonna maybe be like the big bad of Phase 4? Maybe, probably not. But she's gonna have a heavy hand involved into a lot of stuff, and I'm so excited. Give me more bad guys. I'm so excited.
Well, I also think that whatever she's doing and trying to do with John Walker is separate from Zemo and the Thunderbolts, in my opinion. Like, I think it's completely separate,
So,
which
wait,
is cool because we'll get two different things.
You don't think Walker's going to join that team that's going to eventually?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, but I personally don't think so.
Yeah, I think she's going to make it look like they're here to do good, and he's going to be like that. Very much U.S. agent. Like, he thinks he's doing good. In his mind, he's doing good. Is it the right way of going about it? Probably not.
Do you think this is Marvel's way of doing a little wink and nod to Captain Hydra when we saw brainwashed Cap, and maybe
probably
John Walker becomes Captain Hydra?
We'll never obviously see that, so it could very well be a version of that for sure.
Oh yeah,
never say never.
The closest thing we got is Chris Evans saying "Hail Hydra" and Endgame.
Yes.
Yeah. But either way, I'm stoked for this. Give me a squad of bad guys, and I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah, so obviously we covered a lot of the scene that kind of happened next via the Thunderbolts, and specifically talking about the raft stuff with the Dora Milaje coming up and taking Zemo back to Wakanda, or taking the raft, not Wakanda, excuse me. But a big moment for Bucky there, obviously in Sokovia, going to hunt down Zemo, finding him at the memorial and not shooting him, something that he would have done in the past, showing that Bucky has really kind of changed his outlook on life. And and instead of taking
Sam's talk with him, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Is it after their talk?
Because they have to talk about amends, and then Bucky goes to Zemo, I think.
No, that's later on in the episode. The amends.
Well, they have a little talk before that, but their big talk is later on, I believe.
Yeah. So this scene is Bucky giving Zemo to the Dora Milaje. They're dropping him off at the raft. We kind of covered that. But the next stuff is really what we can kind of dive into, guys. This is the Isaiah Bradley stuff. This is the Isaiah Bradley stuff that comes next. So Sam,
I cried.
Yeah, so Sam takes the shield. He heads back to the U.S., and he's walking down the neighborhood that we recognize from earlier on in the season, and he goes to find Isaiah, and he basically tells Isaiah, I don't know how to do this. And he wants to hear the story. He wants to get the information, and after kind of some pressing a little bit, Isaiah sits down with him, and he brings the full story front and center. And it's very similar, if not exact, to what his story is like in the comics. A few real life adjustments, like the 332 Airmen is a nod.
The Red Tails,
to the Tuskegee, Airmen of the real life, and so we get this story about him, how and also the parallel of him going to save his men, just like Steve did in the first Avenger, which was the big point. Right, he went to go save his men, and he was put in jail for 30 years and tested. And he lifts up his shirt, and he's got marks to prove it. And he reveals his entire story to Sam, and it's heartbreaking. It's hard to listen to. The acting is absolutely incredible in this moment. Gio, I'll let you start this one, man. What did you think about this whole sequence?
Not to nitpick.
Oh, good.
I would have loved to have seen a flashback of some sort.
Even just like a glimpse would have been dope.
Similar to like, how the HBO recent Watchmen series kind of did that. What's going on?
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, the guy delivered. I don't know his name. Who played Isaiah Bradley? But
it's Carl. Goodness, I forgot his name. Hold on.
Weathers.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't he Martian Manhunter's dad in Supergirl?
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's Carl Lumbly.
Great.
And
job.
also, fun fact, because we watched the Schmoedown, but he is actually Winston Marshall's best friend's father.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Is that the guy who said swag?
Yes, Carl Lumbly. Carl Lumbly.
Okay. Where was I going with this? I hope we were Schmoedown.
Being hot there.
Sounds out.
Oh my gosh, it's like, so it's Washington. So currently it's like 70 degrees, which is the equivalent of 110 anywhere else.
That makes sense. I had to turn on my AC.
Yeah, it's
I
getting
don't
warm.
have AC. I just got windows and a bathroom fan.
I'll do it.
I hope we see more of Isaiah in, I don't know where. I hope they do a season 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Pretty sure they will.
Eli's story to then follow up more with Isaiah, because that should be focused around them together. It sure was.
Gio, I will say, I've been saying that I would love to see a flashback of his story, and to kind of go back and see what he went through. But for me, after officially hearing him say it and kind of explain it to Sam, and not just seeing Sam's reaction, but also just thinking about it myself and being like this dude went through the ringer. It might have been too hard to see. That might have been something really, really rough to see, because clearly these guys went through hell, and he was the only one to come back. And he was tortured for essentially 30 years. And as he mentions, a nurse did a death certificate, and he quote unquote isn't technically alive. That's his life, and that's been his life for his entire life, and it sucks. But I don't know if I would have liked to have seen a flashback. I think it might have been a little too hard to see for me personally.
I want to side with Gio for a second, and I would have liked to see the heroics of Isaiah Bradley. I think
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So to see him barge in there and save his troops, and then it could flash back to current and then he could tell the story of the aftermath and how it went south and stuff. But it'd be great to see him with I don't remember if they said that he had a shield or something, but just see him all souped up and kicking ass, I think would be really great and empowering, and it would really add to him talking to Sam specifically. I think that would.
I would have loved to have seen a parallel, almost exactly the same as something that we've seen with Steve, some type of that, just for a quick second, to what Jesse said of maybe he's just coming in, saving them, and then it's just a brief glimpse, and then he can tell the rest. That would have been cool. And just maybe hearing the war in the background, the fighting, that would have been cool. but I don't think it sucks because he's so good. I don't think we'll ever see him again. I think we're done with him.
No,
I agree.
I don't know if we'll see him in this series. I guarantee you when they do Young Avengers and they explore Patriot, we're going to get some Isaiah Bradley.
And that's where I was going, is that if they go into Patriot at all, then we'll see that. But I don't think we're going to see him very much again, just because of the fact that he was like asking him, like, leave me alone. So that way, like, they don't.
Sam's going to respect that.
And even if they did a flashback, it might be a younger actor. They could do the de-aging thing. They totally could. But if they show a flashback, it possibly could be a younger actor too. So it might not even be him.
I would have been okay with that. It's more so like the story and the
impact. Still the character that they're covering, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Jacob, what do you think about this?
I mean, obviously, the action scenes are great, but this is arguably the best scene in the episode. Like this, it was very, very powerful. And to me, it's like, it makes you really think if you like, it's hard to relate, but like, what would Sam do? Like, what is Sam going to do? You have Isaiah telling him that, no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America. And it's just like, that line has so much depth behind it. And then it's like, is Sam betraying something if he does become Captain America? Is he betraying something else if he doesn't? And, we see he's getting ready near the end of this episode. So that was my favorite line in the scene. And I just thought it was really powerful.
It's the dichotomy of taking what Isaiah said and either using it to inspire himself to like do better and be more for black people like across the country, or does he, like you said, no self-respecting black person? So I don't know. It raises a good thing, and it puts it in Sam's hands of how to handle what Isaiah is telling him.
Well, he can be Captain America and not work with the government too.
I think for me, the thing that I was like, I kind of was like, oh, that's rough. But then, and this is pushing the story forward, but like, I was like, when he said the no self-respecting black man would be Captain America, I was like, I get where he's saying, but then like the scene of Sam's nephews playing with the shield, that was kind of like, well, but they don't like, it's still a symbol for people. Like look at Black Panther.
They need something to aspire towards, to like look towards. They need to see themselves in that position.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're not moving forward. You're not progressing.
You're
stagnant.
So I think I liked immediately kind of like after seeing like the nephews playing, and I think that kind of played into it too, because like there were multiple times that Sam and Bucky both saw the nephews playing with the shield, pretending to be Captain America. Mm-hmm. And it's not so much, oh, Steve Rogers, white, blonde hair, blue-eyed guy is Captain America, as much as Captain America is doing good things. And that's the point of Captain America, not the person in it. Captain America is the person that is doing the right thing. And it ties with John Walker too. Like, he didn't do right things, so he was not resemblant of Captain America. So, yeah.
Before we move on,
give me that U.S. agent.
I just want to say that I've been calling it forward from the beginning, and I'm very happy that they finally tackled what this show needed to tackle. And it's kind of been a little bit of a point throughout the series, right? But we kind of came to a head at this moment of, having a black man as Captain America. Obviously, that's what the show is going to be about, right? Sam and going to Bradley and talking to him, and the show kind of just, it went there. There's not a lot of shows or studios that will go there, and they went there and they did it, and they're telling the story that needs to be told, and it was done very, very well. And it plays in, Brian mentioned it, but it plays into what we kind of see next. The next scenes that we see is Sam is back home with his sister and his nephews, and he's helping around the house. He's helping with the boat, helping with the family business. Eventually, Bucky comes in, that cool moment where he picks up the engine. and drops it on the floor. And we get this kind of cool character moments between the two of them, and Sam and his sister, coming back together, and Bucky and Sam working together. Cool thing here is that this is the first time that I can remember that we've seen characters working on parts since Iron Man. And if you remember in the Iron Man movies, specifically, it was kind of like a character moment for him where it was almost building his character development up to in the movie. This very much felt the same between Bucky and Sam. It felt like they were kind of learning. It felt like they were kind of growing up, that they were coming a little bit closer, kind of understanding what was happening, taking a breath, but also kind of moving forward. And I thought it was great, the conversation between the two of them. I also, Mr. Steal Your Sister, Bucky Barnes, coming in with Sam's sister is great. But overall, I thought the stuff was great between the two of them. I know a lot of people don't like quiet moments, but again, it plays to the quiet moments that this show has done really well so far. And I thought everything with Sam and Bucky back in Louisiana was absolutely fantastic. Brian, what about you?
Well, Jesse, you want to say what you were going to say?
Oh, go ahead.
What?
Oh, you went, so I thought, maybe.
No, I said hi because
yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. The only thing I wish Sam would have been a little bit more stop talking to my sister.
I think it's the glare that gets that.
Absolutely. He was giving him glare, but they're very much a verbal back and forth.
Jacob, you're muted.
Oh, I said he said it once at least.
Yeah, he said it once, but just a little bit more of that, because that is kind of their thing where they back and forth say stuff.
Sean Wingblade, correct, Geek Trivia Champion over on the Flickin' Real channel.
Nice,
Mr. Wingblade. Yeah, no, I love Bucky and Sam together. They're just perfect. Yeah.
Good callback.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But they're just so good together. I love it. And Sam's family, that whole thing, seeing their community come together and stuff like that, it was pretty cool.
Real quick, G, I'll go to you next. We got a super chat that came in. Mr. DB. What's up, Dom? Love to see Disney and MCU pushing the envelope. People were worried they'd scale back the violence, adult themes, yada yada. They scoffed at that, and they're going for the jugular. I agree.
Well,
I absolutely agree. It's
amazing that this is coming from a superhero comic book world. You don't see that very often. Mind you, it's Disney. Disney does does real stuff, but this is a superhero world. This is comic books and stuff. Comic books I'll do this a lot. They will literally take a real life issue, throw it in the comic, and you have to read through it if you want to see your story.
Remember the 9/11 issue they did for Marvel?
Oh God,
no. I don't know.
Long ago,
there was you had Spider-Man and Luke Cage and all the heroes of New York were helping clean up all the.
That's right. Yeah,
debris and stuff like that. Dude, that was emotional.
Yeah,
it was rough. But
it's cool that they ain't afraid. They're gonna do whatever they want at this point, and I think it's more or less becoming its own thing that they're going to do whatever they want to tell a story. If it offends people, so be it. And that's why for me, I immediately thought of and this is slightly off topic, but I immediately thought of Scorsese being hating on superhero movies and stuff. It's look at what they just did. They tackled real world issues that have been going on for a long time. It's not to some people that means a lot more, and this is one of the most popular franchises, most watched things in the world, and it is putting that onto a platform, kind of like how Watchmen did when they brought their show on. When Watchmen came on, it was what? That was a real thing, or is this the fake from the show?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's stuff like that makes it the storytelling just so much better, and pushes more than just this superhero storyline of stuff going on. So I love it. I think it's awesome.
So does anybody have any final thoughts on the kind of Bucky and Sam relationship before we move on to a couple of different scenes? They come back up here in a second. The talk between the two of them comes back up.
Well, I just want to say like that, you know, ever since episode 2 to episodes 2 through 4 were very like action packed, like everything's moving very quick, and this like kind of hits you and it slows down, and I actually loved that because it was the longest episode, like you said, and it gave it time to breathe. Like everything was moving so fast before this, and I really liked that it gave it time to breathe. And it was because once he says like, you want to stay around or whatever, and I'm like, oh, we're about to get like 20 minutes of Bucky and Sam just hanging out and him helping repair the ship, and they're like, who's gonna lift it out of the truck? And then he lifts that out, and what he gave Sam, that's
well, I was gonna bring that up at the end
too. So yeah, I loved it. These scenes together with them.
But yeah, so the next scene is just a very quick scene. John Walker goes to see Lamar's family, and he tells Lamar's family that he killed
this man. Crazy.
Yeah, he killed the man who killed Lamar. Obviously, we know that's not the case, but Brian brought it up earlier that he's trying to make himself believe that, right? To make himself feel better about the situation. So we get a moment with Lamar's family, but then it shifts right back to Sam and Bucky. Sam's sister kicks him off the boat, and they go into a little bit of training mode, right? See Sam throwing the shield a little bit. He's struggling. Bucky helping him out.
Creed flashback.
Training montage is given to me all day long. I'll take training montages all day long. But there's a better one coming on in the episode. But the big moment is Sam doing the whole the talk that he does so well with people, right? He gives Bucky this talk about the kind of amends he's giving, and you know, he's not allowing those people to breathe. He's breathing himself, but he's not letting those people to breathe. And they seem like they're in the best part of their relationship at the moment. They separate at this time. They separate on good terms, saying, "Hey, call me," etc. But the talk was very powerful. It shows the growth that both of them have made together, but also separately. Jesse, I know that you've brought this up a couple times, man. Well, what did you think about this scene?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, Sam said something really important. He said, you know, it's essentially commendable that you have this list of amends that you want to make, but amends aren't about talking to people and saying you're sorry to make yourself feel better. If you truly want to make amends, you got to go out there and provide some kind of closure to those people, make them feel better, which that's the path that is much more difficult to take. And I think that's a constant theme, especially in the back half of the season. Whereas, like, you can't just say you're sorry. You have to do the hard thing. The right thing's often the hard thing. And him having this conversation with Bucky is kind of like, and we've seen throughout this season, he's given those Captain America talks. They're ramping up the talk he had with Carly, and he's stepping into that mantle. And he really earns it, especially in this episode, so that by the time, you know, we're looking and going, what's in the box, we're ready for it. And I think a lot of us, when in-game hit, maybe weren't sure how to feel. Not like we're overly upset, but we're like, oh, Sam, that's interesting. Obviously, it comes from the comics, but we haven't seen Sam exude a lot of, like, Captain America energy, you know? So it was very important that they handled that well. And I think that a large chunk of this, like 30 minutes of this episode, was really devoted to, like, this is your next Captain America, and there's a reason for it. I thought it was a wonderful scene.
This is an interesting moment too here. Sam telling Buck that what Steve would think shouldn't matter because Steve's gone. He said it. Steve is gone, which is a big moment. Gio, what about you, man? What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I agree with what Jesse said. For me, it added on to what we saw in the first episode where Bucky would sit in to his therapy sessions, and it felt like he was there, but he wasn't doing the work. And that's kind of what Sam was telling him. You know, you can't just, you know, do this. You know, you got to make people feel better. And so I really enjoyed that. I mean, going back to even them working together on the boat, I thought that was their best display of teamwork in this show. I mean, I'll go back and rewatch, but I'm pretty sure for that moment. And are we talking about the shield throwing?
Well,
yet or not yet?
Are we? Well, we haven't talked about the actual training montage yet.
Okay, we'll get to that. I'll save. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that talk. So,
Brian, what about you? You're muted. You're muted. You're muted again.
Oh, maybe there's something wrong.
Now?
There you go.
There you go.
My mic keeps turning off every once in a while. Remind me.
We're talking about Sam and Bucky's talk about amends.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly is. He's getting better, but with trauma, it doesn't just magically go away. Like, it's something you have to work through. It's kind of like when Zemo said, what did he say? He either said, I put my name in your ledger, or I crossed my name off in your ledger.
Something. I took the liberty of crossing my name off.
Zemo's so sneaky, so he snuck his book and crossed his name off.
Yeah.
Like, when did he do that?
So, like,
he had the book at one point, so maybe he could do it again.
Yeah, I know. He can just do whatever he wants. Nobody notices.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole thing to me is like, this man has been through a century's worth of life in like a shortened amount of time, and it has not been largely good things. So things aren't just going to magically get better. Like, it's a process, and I think that's kind of what this was. Is it's like you're making strides towards a better life. You're attempting to get to a better point in your life, but it's not going to be something that's easy and quick. I mean, we saw Bucky smile when they were playing with the shield? When was the last time we saw him smile? First Avenger?
Not often. Yeah.
Like, I mean, so it's
he smiled at Steve in Wakanda. Good to see you. You look good, buddy.
He smiled when Steve kissed Sharon, and so
that's right too. Yeah.
But let's talk about that actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a trauma. He went through a trauma. Traumas don't heal. Like, oh, okay, I'm over it. Like, he's gonna have those for the rest of his life. It's just a matter of working through it. And I think that's what he's starting to realize he's not as alone as he thinks he is. And I think that's the and that's the thing, is he's starting to realize he's not as alone as he's making himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's jump into the training montage. Gio, I know you got something to say about this, right? The shield throwing, the running, how bad the stunt double looked compared to Anthony Mackie.
It was pretty cool, but I'm like, how are they catching the shield like with their, hand or arm into the, whatever?
Well, I get a super soldier doing it, but I don't know about a regular person.
Yeah, and then training.
Well, a lot of the time they were catching it by like the tip of the shield for the vast majority of it.
I'm pretty sure I saw them like.
I mean, I think they did probably.
Go into there, and
I understand Bucky. Bucky's had practice with it. Bucky's legit, but Sam is definitely a question as to how he can do that.
But they showed him failing with it so many times.
I would just say I thought the montage was badass.
No,
I mean,
you're a sucker for a montage.
In Age of Ultron, the magnets. That's what I was going to bring up. In Age of Ultron, he had a magnetic shield that he never had again.
That's right.
Because they went back to the straps.
It's funny because that's what I was starting to think like was going to eventually happen. I was like, they're just going to give Sam magnets because that's totally what
I mean. In the suitcase.
No,
maybe it's possible. Who knows?
All I know is there better be some.
Why are we even arguing over? Who cares? He's catching the shield and he looks badass doing it. Who cares?
Oh, I'm on your side.
I love the flips, man. I love like just the running and doing the flips. He's like in battle, I'm going to be flipping around everywhere trying to catch this shield. So that was pretty cool. Even though you can tell it's not his face.
I'm excited. I don't even care.
All right, let's get to the final. All right, we have two things left to talk about. Let's talk about the final scene of the episode itself. Inside, before the credits start, early on in the episode, we saw Sharon Carter on the phone having a little conversation. If you watch the episode without subtitles, you wouldn't know that this was coming.
Oh, I was like, that makes sense because there's a lot of people doing reviews that were like, "Oh, look, he's in here," and I was like, "Didn't you see?" But I forgot. I always watch everything with subtitles.
So if you're watching the show with subtitles, you would know that when Sharon Carter was on the phone, she was talking to Batrick. Batroc. And so we see him show up at the end of the episode. He's bringing a little gift to Carly, and it's some weapons. She's like full on like in criminal mode. And they're in New York City before is it the GRC? The GRC, correct?
GRC.
The GRC puts their vote in. And this obviously is a big question as to who Sharon Carter is, what her motive is, what is she doing? Is she the power broker? Is she for the power broker role? I mean, look, there's still
we don't know.
I've been saying it since day one. Her ass is the power broker.
You have not been saying it since day one. It has not been since day one.
Okay, since
like episode 3, right?
Since episode 3, her day one appearance. The second thing said she was an art dealer. It was
power broker wants Carly dead. So this is so confusing.
Well, yeah, wants Carly dead, but then also
what?
She sent Batroc on this mission, which means that Sharon is complacent with Batroc killing Sam, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think they're throwing us a curveball.
Why would she want Sam to die? Like, why would she want to kill Falcon?
Because she's pissed off at him.
Here you go, Brian's favorite theory. Sharon's a scroll. There we go.
No, I don't think Sharon's a scroll.
And we got to remember, this is a Carter. She is a descendant of Peggy Carter. You really going to besmirch the character like this? I'm not a fan, to be honest.
See, this is what I tend to believe. This is exactly what I tend to believe. She's working towards becoming the power broker.
Sure.
I don't think she's actually the power. Because remember, when we first met Zemo in episode 4, he said, I knew him. He said him. Yeah. He said I had met him or I knew him or something back in the day. Obviously, things can change, but I think she's lying.
Could we argue that there's a potential that Madam Hydra is the power broker because of her interest in John Walker, who has the serum? She said that there's interested parties in him because he has the serum.
That would be interesting.
And she's a lot more of a. I don't know. I think there's two.
She fits the role of powers of it. Yeah. I think Sharon Carter is going to be good when it's all said and done. I think she's still a good guy.
So do I.
Honestly.
So do I.
After this episode, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah, she is
anti-hero.
Otherwise, it's going to be real weird. Well, yeah, just like she can have darker motives and stuff, but like, it feels unearned. Like I understand. I agree. She's bitter, but it's a bit much because she did go out of her way to help Sam and Bucky but then this doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm very confused, but I'm hoping the next episode is at least an hour like this one was, which was a nice.
Well, yeah, and to add to that too, like if she was the power broker, that means when we first saw her, she was killing her own men.
Yeah, she also helped them get to the scientist that the power broker's pissed off is now dead.
Exactly. Like there's so many like contradicting factors of this. It's either way, this is the most mysterious part of the whole series, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
Starger's got it nailed. Elaine is the power borker. The power borker.
There you go.
I like power borker.
Well, yeah. Hopefully we find out some. Hopefully we find out some good information about that next week, leading into some future stuff for her. But let's get to this post-credit scene, guys. Let's finish off the episode with this post-credit scene.
Speaking of Iron Man similarities,
yes, very much so. For the second time in the MCU Disney Plus era, the second to last episode has featured a post-credit scene. This one is very simple. We see John Walker creating his own version of a Captain America shield. And he's personalizing it. He's putting his Medal of Honor into it. He's painting it the same exact color, etc. It's obviously not going to be the same because it's not going to be vibranium. It's going to be just regular old-fashioned metal. And he's going in for the kill. He's going to go in for the kill, and he wants a weapon to do so. What do we think about this? Jacob, I'll let you start.
Yeah, like I said earlier, this surprised me because, as soon as the episode ends, I start getting on my phone. I could finally go on Twitter and YouTube again, and like then I hear the clanking and I look up. I'm like, wait a minute, a mid-credit scene, and it was pretty cool to see because we don't really know what John Walker's role is in this last episode. They kind of already dealt with them. He's already been, he had everything stripped from him. So what role is he going to play in this final episode? And it looks like he's ready for battle. And I was thinking about that. What is his shield made out of? Like, what kind of metal is he using?
Steel.
If they fight and they hit shields, that shield's just going to break. So,
no, that's the Shaquille O'Neal movie.
We'll see. Yeah. But no, I thought that was cool, man. It means he's going to be a big part of the next episode, which I'm excited for.
Brian?
I'm just curious if a bullet goes straight through that or like how that's going to work.
Yeah, I'm interested about the dynamics of this shield. Can he throw it?
I think it could possibly be bulletproof. Like it doesn't take the strongest metal in the world. Like if you got a dense enough metal that's like I don't know what the terminology would be, but like there's a lot that would block your typical rounds. Now if you get like an anti-tank rifle or something like that, that's gonna blow a hole in it. But maybe like some fodder from a shotgun or your average pistol might be able to block. But Bucky will punch a hole right through that.
Yeah.
If he goes toe to toe with Bucky, Bucky's gonna put a dent in it like Red Skull did to Cap's original shield.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering also, like, because I immediately was like, I thought of how Peter Parker was like, that thing doesn't even obey the law of physics at all. Like, how is this one going to work? Like, is this one going to just be like...
We now know he has the support from Madam Hydra. Is that not steel?
Maybe. I mean,
does she have resources?
Her business card didn't have anything on it, which I kind of
like. It's definitely not vibranium. It's not adamantium. What else could it be? I mean, that's
okay.
You can't craft vibranium in your garage.
No. I would love for him to use a real one, and then someone at some point has to give him an adamantium one. That would be cool. Like, you got a vibranium shield.
Even if you don't have X-Men yet, you can easily be like, oh, we have adamantium. There's no reason why they can't.
Yeah. So, I mean, they do own the rights to that now. So,
Gio, what do you think about this post-credit scene?
Well, Jesse talked about it. How do we not know that Madam Hydra didn't give him some metal and said, hey, make your own shield? And I'm pretty sure I saw that correctly. He's putting his metals into the shield.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's badass right there. Because some of these people need fucking
John Walker, huh?
Egotistical.
Hey,
spreading that line.
They need to be reminded of what he did.
Gio stands John Walker.
Yeah, Gio's a Walker fan.
Well, because it's like it's not really all his fault, It's just they were supposed to be a team. Remember who showed up when they were getting their asses kicked on the truck? Even though he got his ass kicked on a truck, but
oh goodness!
I've always dug the anti-hero villains. Okay, like my favorite Star Wars character was Darth Vader. So,
well, look, he wasn't a bad man before all this.
No,
what shows me that is when he goes to see Lamar's family. I love that scene. So
yeah,
he tells them, if you guys need anything, like contact me. I'll take care of you. So
since it wasn't like televised, I'm guessing. Do they still assume he's Captain America? Because that was the vibe that I got.
I don't think so.
No, I think everyone knows.
I think everyone
knows. Yeah.
Yes, I know, Chuck.
Because the I don't know, but I would say with the press being outside the building that that it was held at, that they probably got some information, just like a normal news situation would.
Did anyone notice that he was getting a lot of side eye from what I assumed to be Lamar's sister?
Yeah.
Like everyone was really close, and she looks distrusting and pissed.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
and I thought that was interesting. Like maybe she could see through him.
Could be interesting. Could be an interesting callback whenever we see them again, if we do see them again. All right, gentlemen. Well, any final thoughts on today's episode before we head out of here? Anybody?
Uno más.
One more.
Yeah.
One more.
It went by so fast.
Yeah, seriously. I'll say this. Falcon's getting a dope ass suit. He's getting a dope ass suit.
I swear to God, if that thing doesn't have wings,
dude, he's gonna have vibranium wings.
Guys, all right. I will not explain anything to you, but all you got to do is Google Hasbro Falcon Winter Soldier leaks.
I know.
You'll get everything you need.
I've already seen it.
I saw
Gio's
it.
going
Gio's
right
doing
away.
it right now.
Yeah, don't screen share, Gio.
No, look, we'll see it next week, but obviously coming from Wakanda, it's going to be vibranium based, which is awesome.
I was talking to several of you know PJ Campbell. I was messaging him and I was like, bro, does that mean, because I don't think it was in the comics, but like his suit's going to be woven vibranium, so he can really go toe to toe with super soldiers because it's it is what do you call it, like energy absorbing or impact absorbing. So people, it's like punching a brick wall.
Sure, he's making him the dopest suit alive.
Love it.
It's gonna be badass. Well, we're gonna see it next week. He opened the box at the end of this one.
Such a freaking
get a new Red Wing.
Oh,
does he get a Red Wing?
I hope he gets a new Red Wing. I hope
maybe. That was the biggest blue balls tease I've ever seen.
Yes, I know, right? I know, terrible.
Yeah.
But we'll see it next week. We only got a week. All right, we're gonna head out of here, guys. Before I do, I just want to say Jesse will also be with us in about 2 weeks on Apocaflix Now as we're reviewing Mortal Kombat and the full season of Falcon and Winter Soldier after it wraps up.
And Jake will be with me May 1st.
That is correct.
Oh,
for Jesse's
for
birthday.
me, right?
And Brian. And Brian.
God.
So, okay. In my defense, Jake was the one talking, so I'm
okay.
And Brian will also be there. We'll have a crossover event. It'll be a lot of fun.
But obviously, every Friday, guys, our last rewind episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier will be next Friday. Then we'll catch back up when Loki comes around as well. And the Fandalorian Club will be returning in about 2 weeks as well for the Bad Batch, but we'll preview that a little bit here later on. For now, we're going to head out of here. For everybody here, Jesse, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been a blast talking with you about some comic book stuff. Always good time. For Gio, Brian, Jacob, and myself, we are Apocaflix Movies. Thank you to everybody who's joined us, who's been commenting, who's hanging out with us on every Friday. Join us next Friday, guys. It's the finale. We're going to talk some good stuff. But for now, everyone have a good evening, and we will see you guys then.
I can do this all day.